As billionaire Elon Musk stepped into the quaint French restaurant in Austin, he blended seamlessly with the crowd. Dressed in a plain black t-shirt and jeans, he could have been mistaken for any other patron. But when he began quizzing the waiter, Jackson Miller, about the restaurant's electricity bill rather than the menu, Jackson couldn't suppress a chuckle. Unbeknownst to him, he was laughing at the world's richest man, a visionary behind electric cars and rockets. Jackson, a diligent waiter funding his engineering education with night classes while working full days, struggled with a car that constantly broke down, his dreams of earning a degree slipping further away. Yet that ordinary Tuesday would soon transform his life in ways he never imagined, unveiling a surprising connection between the small eatery and Elon's past. The tip Elon left wasn't just a jaw-dropping amount, it marked the start of a story that would echo for years. Rain tapped against the windows of Petit Paris as evening settled over downtown Austin. The little French restaurant glowed with a warm ambience, a cozy haven from the October chill. Beyond the glass, the city skyline shimmered against the dark Texas sky, with Tesla's Gigafactory visible in the distance. Inside, the hum of soft conversations filled the space, mingling with the aroma of freshly baked bread and simmering sauces. White tablecloths draped over wooden tables, each adorned with a flickering candle at its center. At precisely 7:42 p.m., the door swung open. A tall man in a simple black t-shirt and jeans entered, shaking raindrops from his short, dark hair. Nothing about him hinted at his billionaire status, no flashy watch, no designer attire, just a man seeking a quiet meal. Elon Musk had spent 14 grueling hours at the Gigafactory that day. His shoulders ached from hunching over production blueprints, his mind buzzing with spacecraft designs and AI challenges. Tonight, though, he craved the simplicity of an ordinary dinner. The hostess, an elderly woman with silver hair and a faint French accent, didn't immediately recognize him. "Table for one, sir?" she asked. "Yes, please," Elon replied. "Somewhere in the corner, if possible." She led him to a small table by the back window, away from the other diners. Perfect. His phone buzzed in his pocket for the 12th time that hour, a notification from SpaceX about the next day's Starship test flight. He silenced it without a glance. Rockets and electric cars could wait until morning. Jackson Miller approached with a menu tucked under his arm. At 24, Jackson wasn't much younger than Elon had been when he founded his first company. But while Elon now led enterprises worth hundreds of billions, Jackson managed only this modest section of tables at Petit Paris. "Good evening, sir," he said, placing the menu on the table. "Welcome to Petit Paris. Can I start you with a drink?" A slight Oklahoma accent lingered in Jackson's voice, not fully erased by 4 years in Texas. His black pants bore a faint coffee stain near the knee, his scuffed but polished shoes and white button-up shirt slightly wrinkled, with a name tag pinned crookedly to his chest. "Just water with lemon, please," Elon said. "Right away," Jackson replied, turning to fetch the drink. When Jackson returned with the water, Elon was staring at the ceiling fixtures. "Your water, sir," Jackson said. "Are you ready to order, or do you need more time?" "Those are standard bulbs, right?" Elon asked, still gazing upward. Jackson followed his line of sight, puzzled. "I think so." "Is something wrong with them?" No, I just noticed," Elon said, taking a sip of water. "What's your monthly electric bill here?" "This place could save a lot with LED lighting and a small solar setup." Jackson couldn't help it, he burst into laughter. It wasn't a mocking laugh, just one of surprise. Who comes to a French restaurant and asks about the electric bill? "Sorry, sir," Jackson said, still grinning. "Most people here talk about the food, not our utility costs." A woman at a nearby table looked up, followed by a man at the bar. Something in the man's voice had caught their attention, and they now studied him more closely. Elon didn't seem offended. He gave a slight smile and shrugged. "Fair enough. I'll have the grilled salmon with vegetables, please. No sauce." Jackson jotted down the order. Anything else? Perhaps some wine. We have a lovely Sauvignon Blanc that pairs perfectly with the salmon. No, thank you. Just the water, Elon said. As Jackson turned to leave, he caught whispers from across the room. He glanced back at his customer. Something about him seemed familiar, the sharp jawline, the intense eyes. Where had he seen that face before? Oh my gosh, a college-aged girl whispered from a table by the window. That's Elon Musk. Jackson froze mid-step. He slowly turned to look at his customer again. The girl was right, the richest man on the planet. And Jackson had just laughed in his face. Heat rushed to his cheeks, his stomach knotting. He hurried to the kitchen, clutching the order slip in his trembling hand. May, you won't believe who's at table 12, he whispered to his coworker, a petite woman with a sleek black ponytail. Mei Lin peered through the kitchen window. Is that who I think it is? It's Elon Musk. And I laughed at him, Jackson groaned, leaning against the counter. You what? May's eyes widened. He asked about our electric bill and lighting, and I laughed because it seemed so odd. I didn't know it was him. Jackson ran a hand through his sandy brown hair. I'm going to get fired. Mrs. DuPont will kill me if she finds out I was rude to Elon Musk. Chef Andre, who was plating a steak au poivre, looked up with interest. The Tesla man is here. In my restaurant. Make his dish perfect, chef. Please, Jackson pleaded. The chef nodded, his expression turning serious. Of course, we are professionals. Jackson peeked back into the dining room. Word was spreading. Diners stole glances at Elon's table, some discreetly snapping photos with their phones. A group of sharply dressed businessmen at the central table pointed and murmured among themselves. Through it all, Elon sat calmly, checking something on his phone, either oblivious to the stir he'd caused or simply accustomed to it. For 4 years, Jackson had worked at Petit Paris. They'd hosted a few minor celebrities, a state senator, an indie film director, some tech executives, but never someone of Elon Musk's caliber. Jackson's head spun. Just last week, he'd been explaining Musk's Starship plans to his roommate. He followed every SpaceX launch, studied Tesla's battery tech, even wrote a paper on Neuralink for his engineering ethics class, and now he'd laughed in the man's face. Mrs. DuPont emerged from her small office near the kitchen, her gray hair pulled into a tight bun. Why is everyone whispering? What's happening in my restaurant? Elon Musk is here, May said quickly. Mrs. DuPont's stern expression didn't waver. And he's a customer like any other. He'll receive excellent service, just like everyone else. She turned to Jackson. His food is ready. Serve it properly. Jackson took a deep breath, adjusted his tie, and picked up the plate. The salmon was perfectly cooked, the vegetables artfully arranged. He carefully returned to table 12, where the man who had revolutionized electric vehicles, private spaceflight, and online payments sat alone, still checking his phone. Your salmon, sir, Jackson said, setting the plate down with steady hands despite his nerves. Can I get you anything else? Elon looked up from his phone. For a moment, his eyes met Jackson's, and the young waiter felt as though he'd been scanned and assessed in an instant. Actually, Elon said, setting his phone aside, tell me something. Why did you laugh earlier? Most people don't laugh when I make suggestions. Jackson swallowed hard. This was his chance to apologize. I'm so sorry, Mr. Musk. I didn't recognize you, and I thought it was strange for a customer to be concerned about our electric bill. Now I understand why you asked. It was completely unprofessional of me. To Jackson's surprise, Elon Musk smiled, a genuine smile that reached his eyes. Don't apologize. In fact, it's refreshing. Not many people laugh around me anymore. He picked up his fork. Thanks for the honest reaction. Jackson nodded. Relief washing over him. Enjoy your meal, sir. As he walked away, he had no idea that this ordinary Tuesday shift would change his life forever. "Did you apologize?" Mei Lin whispered when Jackson returned to the kitchen, her dark eyes wide with excitement. "Yes, and he was really nice about it," Jackson said, still stunned. "He said it was refreshing that I laughed." Through the small round window in the kitchen door, Mei peered out. "I can't believe Elon Musk is in our restaurant. My brother works at Tesla and says no one ever sees him eating out." Chef Andre looked up from the stove, where he was searing a dessert. "My cousin in California told me Musk works 20 hours a day and sleeps on a couch in his office." Jackson grabbed a pitcher to refill water glasses. "Well, he's here now, acting like a normal person. He didn't even order wine or anything fancy." Mrs. DuPont clapped her hands sharply. "Enough gossip. We have other customers. Jackson, table 7 needs their check. May, your food for table 3 is ready." As Jackson moved through the dining room, he couldn't help but glance at Elon's table. The billionaire ate quietly, seemingly lost in thought. Unlike the businessman at the central table, who laughed too loudly and kept name-dropping companies, Elon seemed to want no attention at all. While tending to other tables, Jackson's mind wandered to his tiny apartment 15 miles from downtown Austin. He shared it with 2 roommates, Kyle, a bartender, and Deshawn, who worked at a tech support call center. Their place was so small that Jackson's bedroom was a converted dining nook with a curtain for a door. His shift wouldn't end until 11 p.m., and then he'd drive home in his beat-up 2009 Honda Civic. Last week, the car had stalled after class, forcing him to call Deshawn for a ride. The repair cost $340, money Jackson had been saving for next semester's textbooks. He'd moved to Austin from Lawton, Oklahoma, 2 years ago. His hometown offered little opportunity for someone with big dreams. His mother, Sandra Miller, still lived there, working as a nurse's aide at the local hospital. She'd raised Jackson alone since his father left when he was 4. Sandra always believed in her son's potential. "You've got a mind for solving problems," she'd tell him, whether he was taking apart the microwave to see how it worked, staying up late in middle school building rocket models, or winning the state science fair in 10th grade with a solar-powered water filter. But belief alone couldn't pay for college. Jackson's grades earned him a partial scholarship to Oklahoma State University, but even with student loans, the funds fell short. So instead of engineering school, he worked at a Lawton Walmart, saving every penny and taking classes at a local college when he could afford it. Moving to Austin had been a gamble. Sandra had cried at the bus station, pressing $220, all she could spare, into his hand. "Go do something amazing," she'd said. 2 years later, Jackson was still struggling to stay afloat. He worked 40 hours a week at Petit Paris, attended evening classes at Austin Community College for electrical engineering, and sent $200 a month to his mom, who pretended she didn't need it. Jackson refilled a water glass at table 4, offering a polite smile to the 2 women discussing a marketing campaign. He'd learned to be invisible while serving. Wealthy customers rarely noticed waiters unless something went wrong. "Order for table 12, Chef Andre called." Jackson returned to the kitchen, where a perfect chocolate soufflé awaited. "Did he order dessert?" Jackson asked. "No," Andre replied with a wink. "It's on the house, my special recipe." Jackson carefully carried the soufflé to Elon's table. "A compliment from our chef," he said, setting it down. "He thought you might enjoy our signature chocolate soufflé." Elon looked up, surprised. "That's very kind. Please thank him for me." Jackson nodded. He started to walk away but then, summoning his courage, turned back. "Mr. Musk, I just wanted to say I'm studying engineering at ACC, and your work with Tesla and SpaceX is incredibly inspiring. The way you tackle climate change and aim to make humanity multiplanetary, that's why I want to be an engineer." The words tumbled out before Jackson could stop them. His face flushing. The last thing Elon Musk probably wanted was a starstruck waiter fawning over him during dinner. But Elon set down his fork and looked at Jackson with genuine interest. What kind of engineering? Electrical engineering, focusing on sustainable energy systems, Jackson replied. I'm particularly interested in grid-scale energy storage solutions. Elon nodded approvingly. That's exactly what we need more of. The technical challenges there are significant. I know, Jackson said. I've been following developments in solid-state, battery, and flow systems. Materials science is fascinating. It felt like a dam breaking. For months, Jackson had been brimming with ideas about engineering challenges, but he had no one to discuss them with who understood or cared. His roommates, Kyle and Deshaun, were great, but their eyes glazed over when he talked about energy density or conversion efficiency. Mrs. DuPont appeared at Jackson's side, her expression stern. Jackson, the other tables? We're fine, Elon interjected. Your waiter and I are just discussing engineering. I'm enjoying the conversation. He turned back to Jackson. How much longer do you have in your program? Mrs. DuPont's eyebrows rose, but she stepped back without another word. I'm about halfway through, Jackson explained. It's taking longer than usual because I can only afford part-time classes while working full-time. That must be tough, Elon said. Jackson shrugged. It is what it is. My mom couldn't afford college for me, so I'm figuring it out as I go. If everything goes perfectly, I'll finish in 3 years. And if things don't go perfectly? Elon asked. Jackson let out a quiet laugh. Then it'll take longer. My car broke down again last week, the 3rd time this year. Every repair is money that doesn't go toward school. He paused, suddenly embarrassed. Sorry, I shouldn't be bothering you with my problems. You're not bothering me, Elon said. I'm interested. The world needs more engineers thinking about sustainable energy. A loud burst of laughter erupted from the center of the restaurant. One of the businessmen was telling a story, gesturing wildly with his glass of red wine. So I told him Tesla's just a bubble waiting to pop, he said, followed by more laughter. Jackson noticed Elon cast a brief glance at the noisy table before returning his attention to the soufflé. Don't you want to go over there and tell them who you are? Jackson asked quietly. Shut them up real quick. A faint smile played at the corner of Elon's mouth. Why would I do that? Let them enjoy their evening. Jackson was taken aback. If he'd achieved even a fraction of what Elon Musk had, he'd probably want to correct people who were wrong about him. Mei Lin appeared at Jackson's side. Sorry to interrupt, but Table 9 needs more bread, and Table 5 is asking for their check. Right, sorry, Jackson said. He turned to Elon. Enjoy your dessert, sir, and thanks for listening. As Jackson hurried to the other tables, he felt a strange lightness. That brief conversation with someone who understood his passion for engineering had energized him. Maybe tomorrow he'd make it through his evening classes without dozing off, despite pulling double shifts. But Jackson didn't notice Elon watching him thoughtfully as he moved efficiently through the restaurant, serving other customers, clearing tables, and checking on the kitchen staff. Nor did he see Elon pull out his phone and make a quick note before returning to his soufflé. The evening wore on, the restaurant growing quieter. The businessmen paid their hefty bill and left, still loudly discussing their boats and vacation homes. The 2 women who'd been talking about marketing finished their coffee and departed with polite smiles. By 9:30 p.m., only a few tables remained occupied. Jackson noticed Elon had finished his soufflé. Taking a deep breath, he approached Table 12 again. Was everything to your satisfaction, Mr. Musk? He asked, collecting the empty dessert plate. Everything was excellent, Elon replied. One of the best soufflés I've ever had. Please tell your chef. Jackson nodded, but then hesitated. His hands trembled slightly as he balanced the dish on his tray. Sir, I just want to apologize again for laughing earlier. It was unprofessional. Elon looked at him with those intense eyes. You already apologized, and I already said it was fine. I know, but, Jackson swallowed hard. The truth is, I'm a huge fan of your work. I follow everything Tesla and SpaceX do. I even wrote a paper on Tesla's battery tech for energy systems last semester, so laughing at you feels awful. A woman at the neighboring table watched them with interest. Jackson recognized her as Vanessa Carter, a local news reporter. She pretended to look at her phone, but Jackson could tell she was listening. Sit down for a minute, Elon said, gesturing to the empty chair across from him. Jackson glanced at Mrs. DuPont, who was wiping down the hostess stand. She frowned but gave a slight nod. Thank you, Jackson said, carefully setting down his tray and taking the seat. His heart pounded. He was sitting across from Elon Musk. You mentioned you're studying electrical engineering, Elon said. What got you interested in that field? Jackson thought for a moment. When I was 12, a big ice storm hit my hometown in Oklahoma. We lost power for 9 days in the middle of winter. My mom and I had to stay with neighbors who had a generator. He leaned forward, warming to the story. I remember thinking it was crazy that our whole lives could be disrupted just because a power line went down. It seemed like such an outdated system. Elon nodded, his expression thoughtful. The grid is definitely vulnerable. It's one of the most critical yet outdated infrastructures we have. Exactly, Jackson said, his nervousness fading in his enthusiasm. That's why I'm so interested in distributed energy systems and better storage solutions. If every home could generate and store its own energy, you'd eliminate a major point of failure. Precisely, Elon finished. For the next few minutes, they discussed various approaches to energy storage and distribution. Jackson was struck by how effortlessly Elon explained complex concepts, breaking them down into digestible parts. This concludes our narrative journey. I trust you found this gripping saga of intrigue, cutting-edge innovation, and astonishing discoveries captivating. From where are you tuning in today? I'm curious to learn which corner of the globe this tale has touched. If this escapade held your interest, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for a steady stream of compelling, mind-expanding stories just like this one. Fresh material is posted frequently, ensuring you're always in the loop for the newest spellbinding adventures. Be sure to pass this video along to your loved ones and friends. It's a great way to share positivity and insight while expanding our circle of story enthusiasts. Your encouragement is invaluable. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to welcoming you back for the next tale.